Democrats are waking up to the woman they took home from the bar when they were drunk, and it's Kamala Harris. How did this happen? What is she doing in my bed? I'm John Mike Keene.
I think the biggest story of the news cycle is her performance last night was the last straw for a lot of Democrats. No more. The more she does it, the better she'll get.
Her initial reaction often is a facial expression of almost surprise and discomfort. Then you can see the wheel spinning in her head. Kind of, how do I say something without saying anything, without offending, without kind of really answering the question, and then pivoting, as Joe Biden famously said about kind of Rudy Giuliani, a noun, a verb, and Trump is a fascist.
These are Democrats criticizing her, but Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank really nails them on how did this happen? When did this happen? It happened way back, all the way back to when Biden got out.
Pelosi went to Biden and said, you need to step aside, and convinced him to do so. He made the decision, and he did actually ask her, and we've now learned this, is she the right person to drive this home? He questioned that. He could have said, we need to run a process in order for me to make this move. But they decided not to. I don't know who they is. Was it Obama? Was it Pelosi? I don't care who it was.
Interesting news. Recent focus groups conducted by the super PAC Republican voters against Trump found that swing voters don't like Harris. And focus groups conducted by the Democratic National Committee also found Harris rubs some people the wrong way. So, Jonah, how big a drag is Kamala Harris on the ticket?
I think she's a pretty big drag. I think she was arguably Biden's worst political decision of his presidency to pick her in the first place.
That's Chris Wallace asking Jonah Goldberg. They knew all the way back then that Kamala Harris was bad with independents, and then they pretended like it didn't exist as they did the Joy campaign, and it was a giant sugar rush inflated with emotional gas.
And you could see the voters' kind of faces, and I think a lot of these people wanted to be for her, kind of like, I'm not feeling you, right? It's a cold kind of like a teacher talking to a pupil.
Who threw Kamala Harris into this race without the proper channels vetting her? Because she would never have been picked as their candidate if it was open. Watch the CNN panel here blow up on Kevin O'Leary as he accuses them of not allowing a democratic process to happen.
This is the second time the Democratic Party has circumvented democracy and chose.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. Hillary Clinton was chosen.
How dare you, Kevin? Yeah, he's telling the truth. They should have listened to him.
And I think, we saw this in 2019, and there was a hope that as she did more interviews and settled down and got more comfortable, that you would see kind of a human being with some passion, some humor, because we talk about it. Trump is having fun. Versus
Kamala, who apparently they're saying doesn't act like a human being. Here's Trump in Arizona.
And a very special hello to Arizona. Thank you.
Trump went to McDonald's. He's cracking jokes. He's doing so many interviews. He feels it. They're watching their internal polls and Kamala Harris's internals. Remember, this guy is a Democrat right here.
Like, it is clear as day that he's feeling pretty good. So I think the frustrating part to Democrats is it is clear that she is just not really capable right now of answering that question, why should I be for you? And I hope that, enough voters decide that she doesn't have to, but I don't feel confident about that.
He's a Democrat. He's still hoping Kamala Harris wins, even with all that criticism of her as being terrible. What's wrong with you people? I mean, welcome to America. Anyone can vote for anyone they want. I'm not going to criticize that. I'm happy that you vote. But I just got a question, man. Some of Kamala's, the biggest insults she gets are from Democrats.
She's basically, from the very first interview and in the town hall, she's asked the same questions. Why didn't you stop the border down earlier? What's your view on fracking? How would you be different from Joe Biden? These are the same questions over and over. And what people ask me all the time, and I'm asking you, how could the staff not have her have better answers to these questions? She's gotten 15 mulligans, and her answers, as Dan just characterized it, and as David Axelrod said word salad last night.
That's Barack Obama's David Axelrod. They are waking up. They thought they could carry her over the finish line and manipulate you. and they thought they could work around the vote.
And she had Bruce Springsteen too.
Hold on,
and
hold
what
on.
happened to her? And now we've chosen.
Kevin, Hillary Clinton won a primary. Okay, she won a primary. You may not.
Nobody
like
could
that
compete
how
with
the
her, even
primary-
Bernie Sanders.
She won a primary.
Okay.
First of all, that's the first
So
thing.
did Kamala
The second thing,
Harris
we've
win a
talked-
primary?
Listen, we've talked about this before.
What's wrong
How
about talking
hard-
about it tonight after what you just saw?
Let's talk about it tonight. Did Kamala Harris run a primary? Is that the very best way you can run a primary to shake out the best candidate?
She's known to over prepare, is my understanding. I mean, there's that notorious donor dinner where she did some sort of a mock dinner. But it's the problem is that it always seems like during the headlines, it always seems like this is a surprise question. If the issue is she's unwilling or unable to create any daylight between her and Joe Biden. That's a big part of the problem is that, anything as simple as the economy, I wish we would have taken inflation more seriously earlier. I wish we would have taken.
These are Democrats trying to give her answers because she's so dumb that she can't take orders, guys. This isn't a matter of she's evil and she's trying to deceive you. It's she's so stupid that she can't come up with another answer. She lives in that stupid world that you're seeing. Kamala Harris can't get out of her own head. That's who she is.
Hang on a second.
Let's talk about what matters to voters. Do you really think voters care about the internecine primary
If,
process?
if you're a
of the Democratic
Democrat,
Party?
you sure as hell care today.
I know that you are from Canada, but the primary process.
That's why I'm
the primary
perfect for this.
process in this
I have no
country
skin in the game.
is not-
These are pretty easy, simple things that she could be navigating. And instead, it always seems like it's a real major surprise. And it seems like her closing argument is very much crystallizing in that Trump is a fascist. I'm not Trump. And that's why you should vote for me. Nothing about the economy, really little about immigration. It's kind of going back to the same old talking points.
Because she has no other talking points. She has nothing else rolling in her mind. She doesn't even know what the problem is at the border. She has no solution. She has no idea about economic theory, even in the big picture stuff. She can't get out of her own head. Kamala Harris is a dud of a candidate.
It was just more of the same. It's not going to move the needle. And people are starting to, really realize we're getting down to the wire.
Buyer's remorse. Too little, too late, guys.
Is the staff letting her down, or is she simply, because of psychology and limitations, simply not able to give better answers?
It is inherent. It is who she is. She cannot give better answers because it is fixed inside her. That's what they're coming to the conclusion of. She has so many handlers trying to help her and get her answers, and she over prepares, and then she gets in front of people. And when she's herself, she is an empty vessel. She is what you call a fool.
It's not in the Constitution. The political parties can choose however they want to choose their nominee.
Right.
And as long as they meet the legal deadlines in the states where they are on the ballot, they can do it however they want.
I want the president, whoever it is, to be a
You're
winner.
describing something as undemocratic that has absolutely nothing to do with the democratic
And this
process.
is why
We'll let them argue a little more, but the bottom line is this is a form of democracy. When Kamala Harris loses, we'll see who has the better method for picking a candidate, Republicans or Democrats. I'm John Mike Keene.